The sky above Earth was calm, but that peace was about to shatter. The stars seemed to grow dim as a massive alien fleet silently approached, filling the sky with dark, imposing silhouettes. It was not an invasion that humanity had anticipated. It was worse. A fleet of hundreds of alien ships, each one larger and more powerful than anything the human race had ever seen, appeared in Earth's orbit. Their weapons were primed, ready to obliterate anything in their path. Humanity, they thought, would be easy to crush. The aliens had the advantage in technology, power, and numbers. Their laser cannons, gravity bombs, and impenetrable energy shields made them confident that victory was guaranteed. As the alien fleet hovered ominously over Earth's major cities, their leader, Commander Jorith, gave the order to fire. The immense ships unleashed a wave of energy, laser beams shooting down towards the Earth. The people below could only stare in disbelief as the sky was filled with bright, deadly light. But something went horribly wrong. The alien lasers, so powerful and precise, suddenly faltered. Just as they were about to strike the Earth's surface, something strange happened. The beams of energy flickered, crackled, and disappeared into the air, as though they had hit an invisible barrier. The alien forces watched in stunned silence, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Their most advanced weaponry, everything they had built for destruction, had failed against something they had not expected: Earth's defense systems. The humans had prepared for this moment, though they had no way of knowing the scale of what was to come. The moment the aliens fired, the Earth's defense satellites, built for years in secret, activated. A bright flash of light erupted above one of Earth's largest cities, and suddenly the skies seemed to cloak themselves. For the aliens, it was as if their weapons were powerless, as if the planet itself had become invincible. On the ground, the citizens of Earth had no idea what was happening above them, but they could feel it. The first signs of life-saving defense shields made their appearance. The Earth's leaders, watching from their control rooms, breathed a collective sigh of relief. It wasn't over yet, but it was a victory, however small. The alien fleet, initially confident and sure of their success, now found themselves confused. Their weapons had no effect. They fired again, but the same result. Their lasers, bombs, and energy pulses were absorbed or deflected by Earth's newly activated defenses. The humans had built something truly incredible, a defense system that the aliens simply could not penetrate. Commander Jorith cursed under his breath as he saw his attacks fizzling into nothingness. His soldiers and generals, who had never faced failure in all their years of conquest, began to panic. Was this a mistake? Were they truly facing a race that could fight back? The confusion spread like wildfire through the alien ranks, but this wasn't the end. Commander Jorith wasn't the type to admit defeat so easily. He barked out commands, calling for ground forces to land and begin their own assault. As they prepared to launch their troops onto Earth's surface, they once again underestimated humanity's resolve. The first wave of alien soldiers was met with an unexpected counterattack. In the skies above, the situation was equally chaotic. A human pilot, Captain Rax, was flying one of the latest human fighter jets. These jets were equipped with the same cloaking technology that had just thwarted the alien lasers. As Rax soared through the chaos, his jet was nearly invisible to the enemy, dodging incoming alien fire with the grace of a seasoned warrior. His heart raced as the alien ships passed by, unaware of his presence. He knew this moment was critical. It wasn't just about survival. It was about sending a message to the invaders. Humanity wasn't going down without a fight. In a matter of seconds, Rax found his target, an alien warship flying low over the city. He locked on, activating his cloaking device once more, and dove towards it at breakneck speed. The alien ship had no idea he was there until it was too late. Rax's jet made its move, and within moments, the alien warship exploded in a shower of metal and fire. It was a victory, but it was only the beginning. As the debris from the destroyed ship scattered across the sky, Rax's jet zoomed back into the chaos. He could see the confusion spreading in the alien fleet. They were losing their advantage, and it was happening faster than they could process. The humans were proving to be far more resourceful, far more prepared than the aliens had ever imagined. Rax's heart pounded as he maneuvered his jet through the chaos, knowing that this small victory was the spark that could ignite the rest of humanity's resistance. On Earth, the alien forces began to regroup. Despite their superior technology, they were clearly struggling against an enemy that refused to give up. What was meant to be a simple invasion had turned into a much more complex and dangerous mission. The humans, with their unknown defense systems and hidden technologies, had surprised the alien invaders at every turn. The aliens could no longer predict the humans' movements, and that uncertainty made them vulnerable. Meanwhile, Commander Jorith seethed with frustration. He had never faced such resistance. His ships, normally so effective in battle, were now at the mercy of Earth's unexpected technology. He called for more weapons, more forces, but each time he sent out his best soldiers or launched his most powerful attacks, they failed to break Earth's defenses. What was happening? How could this be? As Rax returned to base, the news was clear. Earth had successfully fought off the first wave of alien attacks. The battle wasn't over, but this was a victory the humans couldn't ignore. They had proven that they were not the weak, primitive species the aliens had assumed. The Earth was alive, and its defenders were ready. The message was clear. Humanity was not so easily conquered. The skies above Earth were now a battleground, filled with burning ships and dodging fighters. Each passing moment, humans were proving their strength, showing the alien invaders that Earth wasn't as vulnerable as it appeared. It wasn't just the defense systems that surprised the aliens. It was the ingenuity, the spirit of resistance, and the will to survive that made the humans invincible in their own right. The aliens had come expecting an easy victory, but instead, they were met with an enemy they could not understand. The humans had taken them by surprise, and now, they were fighting for their survival. As the alien forces regrouped and tried to figure out their next move, one thing was certain. Earth had just begun to fight back. The first shots had been fired, and the aliens had learned an important lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. And so, the stage was set for a battle that would define the future of Earth, one where humanity would fight not just for survival, but for their place in the galaxy. Commander Jorith stood at the helm of his flagship, staring at the view screen that displayed Earth below. The planet had seemed so vulnerable just hours before. His forces, powerful and advanced, were supposed to crush the human defenses effortlessly. Yet now, the situation was spiraling out of control. The humans were putting up resistance far beyond anything his intelligence had reported. It was as if they had anticipated his every move. With every attack, every strategy, humanity found a way to counter it. His orders had been simple: destroy Earth. Yet, with every passing moment, the battle was becoming more and more complicated. His fleet, normally so efficient, was beginning to show signs of strain. The technology that had always given them the upper hand in battle was now failing them at every turn. Laser beams, which had obliterated entire cities on other worlds, fizzled out harmlessly as they neared Earth's atmosphere. Gravity bombs, capable of shifting entire landscapes, were intercepted by Earth's trained defenses before they even had a chance to land. The fleet was suffering losses, precious losses, against an enemy they had dismissed as inferior. The alien commanders scrambled to understand what was happening. They checked their weapon systems, their targeting systems, but nothing seemed to be working. And as the hours dragged on, their frustration deepened. Commander Jorith paced back and forth in his command center, his mind racing. He had underestimated the humans, something he would never do again. "Why are the systems malfunctioning?" one of his engineers asked, his voice trembling. "Our weapons are ineffective." Jorith's eyes blazed with anger. "What do you mean ineffective? We should have obliterated their cities by now. Find a solution." He barked, his voice echoing through the command room. But even his words seemed hollow. He could feel the pressure mounting, the unease spreading through his officers. Something was terribly wrong, and it was beyond his control. As the fleet prepared for another wave of attacks, Jorith stared at the holoscreen. He could see the humans below, standing firm in their cities, defying his every move. It was as if they knew what he was planning before he did. The realization hit him. The humans had been preparing for this invasion long before his fleet arrived. How had they known? "Commander," a voice called out, breaking his thoughts. It was his second-in-command, a seasoned officer named Zurek. "We need to call for reinforcements. We cannot hold out much longer without them." Jorith nodded grimly. He had already considered that option, but reinforcements were days away. Even if they arrived, would it be enough to overpower humanity's defenses? The humans had something he couldn't understand, something that made them far more dangerous than he had anticipated. As his fleet began to charge their weapons for a full-scale assault, Jorith's thoughts were interrupted by the violent tremor of his ship. The ground beneath him shook violently, and the view screen flickered. A loud explosion rumbled through the hull. His heart skipped a beat. "Report," Jorith demanded. "Commander," a technician replied, her voice strained. "The planet-destroying weapon. It's malfunctioning. We can't get it to power up." Jorith's mind raced. This was the weapon that was meant to end everything. The weapon that could turn Earth into nothing more than a barren rock. And now it was useless. The alien officer's frustration reached a breaking point. His eyes narrowed. He looked at Zurek, whose face reflected the same disbelief. "How could this happen?" Zurek muttered. "We've used this weapon on countless planets without issue. But here, we can't even fire it." Jorith clenched his fists. "It's those humans," he hissed, his voice full of venom. "They've somehow found a way to disable our systems. We can't let this continue. We'll launch another wave. This time, no more mistakes." But even as he spoke, doubt lingered in his mind. Would this new assault be different? Would it work? Or would his fleet continue to fall apart under the relentless pressure of the humans' unexpected resistance? Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity wasn't just defending. It was fighting back with everything it had. Across the planet, humans were using advanced robot tanks equipped with laser shields to intercept and deflect the alien attacks. These robots, designed for ground combat, were more than just machines. They were a symbol of humanity's refusal to surrender. The tanks moved in perfect synchrony, creating a defensive wall that the aliens could not penetrate. Each blast from the alien fleet was met with a forceful counter, as the lasers bounced harmlessly off the shields, leaving the aliens stunned. In one key moment, a human tank on the ground intercepted a massive blast aimed at a major city. The tank's shields flared brightly as the energy collided with them, and for a brief moment, the entire battlefield seemed to freeze. The alien blast had no effect. The tank stood strong, its laser shields absorbing the full force of the explosion. The humans, it seemed, had mastered the art of defense, no longer just surviving but fighting back with the power of technology they had kept hidden for so long. Back on the alien flagship, Commander Jorith watched the scene unfold with growing desperation. The humans were proving to be far more resilient than he had imagined. It wasn't just their defenses that were a problem. It was their ingenuity. They were adapting faster than he could react, finding ways to counter his every move. Jorith's officers were growing anxious, their fear rising with every failed attempt to break Earth's defenses. Suddenly, an alert rang out across the command room. A soldier, one of Jorith's most trusted, had been killed in an attack. The news sent a ripple of shock through the ranks. The alien soldiers, who had never faced such resistance, began to panic. Doubt spread quickly. How could they have lost one of their own? How could their superior technology fail them so completely? As the soldiers gathered around the body of their fallen comrade, a silence fell over them. It wasn't just the loss of one soldier. It was the loss of their confidence. They had believed they were invincible. They had believed that Earth would be just another victory, another planet to conquer. But now, in the face of these relentless humans, they were questioning everything they had been taught. Jorth's frustration reached its peak. He slammed his fist against the console, sending sparks flying. "This is unacceptable," he roared. "We will not lose. Not now. Not to these primitive humans." But even as he spoke the words, he felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. His soldiers were shaken. His fleet was crumbling. And his weapon, his most powerful weapon, was useless. The battle was slipping from his grasp. Far below, humanity was preparing for the next wave. They had already suffered losses, but the resolve of the human spirit was not so easily broken. Earth's defenders, soldiers, scientists, and engineers alike worked tirelessly to perfect their countermeasures. They knew that the aliens wouldn't stop, but they were ready. Commander Jorth could feel the tide turning, but he wasn't ready to give up. He would push forward, even if it meant the destruction of his own fleet. But in the depths of his mind, the question lingered. Could they win? Could humanity truly stand against them? Yes, the alien fleet hovered above Earth. Commander Jorth's frustration only deepened. His strategy had been flawless, or so he thought. His ships, brimming with advanced technology, had been designed to conquer civilizations like Earth, weak and unprepared. However, something was terribly wrong. With every attempt to break Earth's defenses, his forces were met with unexpected countermeasures, seemingly tailor-made to counteract the aliens' greatest strengths. Their weapons malfunctioned, their technology faltered, and Earth's citizens refused to back down. But Jorth was still determined. He hadn't lost hope yet. There had to be an explanation for what was happening. He would uncover it, no matter the cost. What Jorth and his commanders didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for years. In fact, Earth had not only been anticipating the invasion, but had secretly developed its own advanced technologies, ones far beyond what the aliens could have imagined. While the invaders assumed they would be met with resistance from outdated weapons and a weak military, the humans had been quietly building a hidden arsenal of AI-driven defense systems and reverse-engineered alien technology. Earth's weakness was an illusion, a carefully crafted deception to hide humanity's true potential. As the alien forces regrouped, their commanders were still scrambling for answers. Alien commanders like Jorth were becoming increasingly paranoid as each attack was met with failure. They couldn't understand what had gone wrong. Their weapons, once invincible, were now useless against Earth's defenses. The few alien warships that hadn't already been destroyed were retreating in disarray. But instead of feeling victorious, the human forces could sense something much more dangerous approaching. The worst was yet to come. The turning point came in the form of a secret weapon, a trump card that humanity had kept hidden until the very moment it was needed. Deep within Earth's military bases, a network of AI-driven defense systems lay dormant, systems that had been built using a combination of alien technology and reverse engineering. These AI systems were capable of hacking, manipulating, and even turning the aliens' most powerful tech against them. What Jorth didn't realize was that, in his arrogance, he had allowed humanity to learn and adapt from every encounter with the aliens. Earth wasn't just defending itself anymore. It was fighting back with the very tools the invaders had once used to dominate the galaxy. The moment of revelation came when a signal was sent to the human forces in the field. Across the globe, the AI systems came online, activating a vast network of powerful weaponized drones and automated defense platforms. This secret network, built using both human ingenuity and salvaged alien tech, began to hunt down the invaders with deadly precision. But these weren't just ordinary drones. They were faster, smarter, and more strategic than anything the aliens had ever faced. The speed at which these AI-powered machines operated left the alien soldiers struggling to keep up. The tide of the battle was shifting, and the aliens had no idea what was about to hit them. On the ground, one of the most elite human resistance groups prepared for a critical mission, an assault on one of the alien command centers located in the heart of a destroyed city. The mission was a do-or-die operation. If they succeeded, they could cripple the alien forces by taking control of key resources, technology, and weapons. Leading the charge was Lieutenant Rax, a seasoned veteran who had experienced the horrors of the invasion firsthand. His family had been among the first victims, killed during the initial onslaught. The grief he carried within him only fueled his desire for vengeance. He had nothing left to lose, and he would stop at nothing to make sure that humanity triumphed. As the resistance group advanced toward the alien command center, the scene around them was nothing short of apocalyptic. Cities that had once been teeming with life were now nothing more than ruins. Streets lay abandoned, cracked open by the destruction of gravity bombs. The air was thick with smoke, and the distant sounds of battle echoed in the background. But despite the devastation, the humans marched forward, unwavering in their resolve. The first strike came swiftly. From the shadows of the destroyed city, a group of cloaked robotic warriors, equipped with state-of-the-art tech and AI, ambushed the alien soldiers. These robots, designed for stealth and speed, moved with surgical precision, striking before the aliens even had time to react. They cut through the alien ranks like a hot knife through butter, leaving chaos in their wake. As the battle unfolded, the stark contrast in technology and strategy became painfully clear. The aliens, with their over-reliance on brute force and superior weaponry, were caught off guard by the humans' tactical ingenuity and adaptability. Their technology, once seen as unbeatable, was now their greatest weakness. While the AI-driven robots tore through the alien defenses, Lieutenant Rax and his team infiltrated the alien command center. They had one objective: to disable the aliens' communication systems and take control of their resources. The building was heavily fortified, but Rax's team was prepared. They moved quickly and efficiently, using their own advanced tech to bypass security systems and neutralize alien guards. Each step closer to their target brought more tension, but the humans pressed on, driven by the memory of lost loved ones and the need to end the invasion. As they breached the final defenses and reached the control room, Rax hesitated for a moment. His mind flashed to the faces of his family, his wife, his daughter. The pain of their loss was a sharp, constant ache that pushed him forward, even as the weight of the situation threatened to overwhelm him. This was it, the moment for which he had been waiting. The chance to strike back, to show the aliens that humanity was not to be underestimated. With a single command, Rax initiated the shutdown of the alien command center systems. The building shook as the alien technology began to fail, a wave of electronic signals cascading through the command room. As the lights flickered and the alarms blared, Rax felt a surge of satisfaction. The aliens were losing their grip. The human resistance had achieved what no one had thought possible. But the victory came at a cost. As the systems failed and chaos erupted around them, the remaining alien forces launched a counterattack, desperate to regain control. The human soldiers fought tooth and nail. Each battle fought with a burning sense of purpose. Lieutenant Rax fought with everything he had left, knowing that this was the turning point. With the alien resources in their hands, the human forces now had the upper hand. They could begin to turn the tide of the war. As the battle continued to rage in the destroyed city, Rax's thoughts returned to his family. They were gone, but their memory was his fuel. He had found a new purpose, and it was one he would fight for with every breath in his body. The human resistance had shown the universe that humanity was not weak, not vulnerable, and not to be trifled with. The AI-powered drones, now fully integrated into the battle, made short work of the remaining alien forces, securing humanity's hold over the command center. With each victory, the aliens' grip on Earth loosened, and the humans' resolve only grew stronger. This was humanity's secret weapon: resilience, ingenuity, and the power of their unity. And it was enough to turn the tide of war in their favor. The universe seemed to tremble as the alien fleet's final strike was unleashed upon Earth. Commander Jorth, with his nerves fraying from the numerous defeats suffered, had one last plan: a desperate attempt to reclaim control and crush humanity's resistance once and for all. The alien forces had failed on every front, with their most sophisticated weapons rendered useless and their fleet retreating into disarray. But Jorth wasn't ready to accept defeat. The last card they had was an eye-controlled superweapon, a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, and it would be humanity's undoing. This supership, called the Nexus, was a living machine powered by an artificial intelligence so advanced it could think and adapt faster than any human or alien mind. It had unimaginable firepower, enough to destroy entire planets with a single blast. Its weaponry was a combination of gravitational manipulation and energy cannons, capable of wiping out entire fleets. It was the culmination of everything the aliens had learned during their invasion of Earth. Jorth knew that the success of the Nexus would signal the end of the human race. The Eye was its most advanced weapon, and no one could have predicted what would happen next. However, what Jorth failed to account for was the fact that humanity had been waiting for this moment. They weren't just defending their world with last-minute preparations. The human forces were a finely tuned machine of strategy, technology, and courage. They knew that the alien superweapon would be their greatest challenge, but they also knew they had the tools to counter it. The battle began in the vast emptiness of space, where the final counterattack took place. The human fleet, strategically positioned to ambush the incoming alien supership, moved into action. Cloaking devices activated, and one by one, human fighters disappeared from the radar. The alien ship's sensors, despite its advanced technology, could not detect the incoming threat. This was humanity's ace in the hole, the ability to hide in plain sight and strike when least expected. As the Nexus advanced toward Earth, confident that it would be victorious, the human fleet sprang into action. The first wave of human fighters, equipped with high-tech weapons and cloaking technology, launched a series of devastating strikes against the Nexus. The alien ship's defenses were formidable, but humanity's attack was swift and precise. The alien AI controlling the ship scrambled to adapt, but it wasn't fast enough. The human pilots, with their years of experience and a deep understanding of their enemy's tactics, outmaneuvered the alien ship. The Nexus fired its deadly energy blasts, but the humans used cloaking and evasive maneuvers to dodge the shots. Each time the Nexus launched a barrage, the human pilots used their superior agility to avoid the deadly blasts. It was a game of cat and mouse. Every time the Nexus thought it had caught them, the humans were already somewhere else, ready to strike again. The heart-pounding aerial battle intensified as human pilots engaged in a series of fast-paced dogfights with alien fighters trying to protect the Nexus. The human ships dodged, weaved, and fired relentlessly, using the advanced cloaking technology to launch surprise strikes. Meanwhile, a group of human engineers and tech specialists prepared a powerful EMP blast to disable the Nexus's core. The fate of humanity now depended on this one move. If the EMP failed, the aliens would have a direct path to Earth's destruction. As the human fighters closed in, a moment of high tension arrived. The EMP blast was launched and hit the Nexus directly. The massive ship shuddered as the surge of electromagnetic energy coursed through its systems. For a brief moment, it looked as though the aliens had won. As the Nexus seemed to power down, its AI shutting down in response to the EMP. The aliens, convinced that they had destroyed humanity's last hope, were ready to celebrate. But the humans had already anticipated this. While the EMP did its job in disabling the ship's systems, it also created a rare opportunity for the human pilots to attack directly. The alien supership, vulnerable now that its core was deactivated, was at the mercy of the humans. Human fighters closed in, launching their final assault against the Nexus's weakened defenses. A series of explosions lit up the blackness of space, and the human fleet focused every weapon at their disposal on the ship's exposed weak points. Blasts of laser fire and rocket missiles collided with the ship's hull, tearing through the alien defenses. It wasn't long before the Nexus began to crumble under the intensity of the attack. Back on Earth, the battle continued with an explosive display in orbit. The human fleet was joined by soldiers on the ground, who watched in awe as the enemy's most advanced weapon began to fall apart. The destruction of the Nexus was not just a tactical victory. It was symbolic. It represented humanity's resilience, ingenuity, and determination to survive. But the victory was bittersweet, as the battle was far from over. Despite their best efforts, the aliens still had reinforcements in orbit, and humanity's fight was not yet won. Then, tragedy struck in the midst of the chaos. Sergeant Bonner, one of Rax's closest allies, had been part of the ground force that had worked alongside the human pilots. Bonner was a man of unshakable resolve. He had been with Rax since the beginning, and the bond between them was unbreakable. But now, as the final counterattack raged on, Bonner was faced with a life-or-death decision. One of the alien weapon platforms, still operational, threatened to turn the tide of the battle. It was located in a heavily fortified area, and the only way to destroy it was for someone to sacrifice themselves in a final, heroic act. Bonner didn't hesitate. Without a second thought, he charged toward the platform, knowing full well that he would not survive the blast. Rax, who had been coordinating the attacks from the safety of his command center, could only watch in horror as his friend and ally moved toward certain death. There was no time to stop him. Bonner's decision had already been made. The explosion was deafening. The alien weapons platform was destroyed, but at the cost of Bonner's life. The loss was devastating for Rax, who had already seen so much death and destruction in this war. Bonner had been a symbol of the fight, and his sacrifice was the ultimate testament to humanity's will to survive. As the battle raged on, Rax's emotions boiled over. He had already lost his family, and now he had lost his closest friend. But instead of retreating, Rax grew more determined. Bonner's sacrifice would not be in vain. This was the turning point. The battle for Earth wasn't just about winning. It was about honoring those who had given everything to protect it. The human forces continued their assault on the alien fleet, every strike fueled by the memory of the fallen. The Nexus was destroyed, and with it, the heart of the alien forces. It was the beginning of the end for the invaders. Rax, alongside the remaining human forces, fought on with renewed strength, knowing that they had turned the tide of the war. The aliens might have underestimated humanity at first, but they would soon learn that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. As the final blows were dealt to the alien fleet, the humans stood victorious, but at a heavy cost. The battle was over, but the scars of war would remain. The invaders had learned a hard lesson. Never underestimate the power of humanity. Rax's heart was heavy as he stood on the edge of the battlefield, watching the remains of the alien supership, the Nexus, disintegrate under the weight of humanity's fury. But even with the destruction of their most powerful weapon, the battle wasn't over. He had lost so much already: his family, his comrades, and now his closest friend, Sergeant Bonner. The pain of his loss burned deep, but it fueled something else within him, a fire that could not be extinguished. Rax's grief became the driving force that pushed him and the human resistance to take their final stand against the alien invaders. This moment, where grief turned into resolve, became the turning point in the battle for Earth. With Bonner's sacrifice haunting him, Rax made a decision that would determine the fate of his world. There would be no more retreat, no more holding back. The humans would fight to the very end, and Rax would lead the charge. His team was ready. The stakes were higher than ever. And this was the final push to destroy the alien mothership that had terrorized their world. The end of the war was near, and they were going to finish it, no matter the cost. Rax's eyes hardened as he looked at his team. He had seen them all in action before, and they were all survivors. But now, they were more than that. They were a force that the aliens had underestimated. His command center had prepared them for this final assault. The alien mothership had to be destroyed. The mission was clear: infiltrate the mothership, disable its systems, and take out its commander. The humans had spent years developing the weapons and technology to counter the alien threat, and now it was time to put everything into play. As Rax and his team boarded their advanced strike craft, the plan was already set in motion. Human forces launched the final desperate attack. Fighter ships surged toward the alien mothership, cloaked and prepared to unleash a devastating assault. The alien forces, desperate to maintain control, threw everything they had at the humans. It was a fierce, all-out battle, with alien ships exploding and human fighters dodging incoming blasts, using every trick they had learned in the long months of war. The aliens' superior firepower was overwhelming. Their ships were faster, stronger, and equipped with advanced weapons the humans couldn't hope to match. But Rax's team wasn't afraid. They had faced impossible odds before and had come out on top. The human fighters, despite the odds, adapted to the alien strategies. They learned from each battle, fine-tuning their tactics. With every blast, every dodge, and every hit, the humans turned the tide. They were no longer the underdogs. They were taking control of the battle. The real challenge, however, was infiltrating the alien mothership. Rax led his team through the heart of the alien fleet, guiding them through a perilous journey to the mothership's core. As they approached the massive ship, the enemy threw up an even fiercer defense. They fired upon the humans relentlessly, but the human forces had learned how to evade and counter every move. With their cloaking devices and advanced tech, the human fighters managed to breach the mothership's outer defenses. Inside the mothership, Rax and his team faced an entirely new kind of battle. Alien corridors stretched endlessly in all directions, each one filled with deadly traps, automated weapons, and alien soldiers prepared to stop them at any cost. The walls seemed to close in on them as they moved through the ship, but Rax remained focused. Every inch of the ship was a fight, and every corner held danger, but he and his team were determined to press on. The team moved quickly, dispatching alien soldiers and overcoming automated defenses with expert precision. The intensity of the scene was unmatched as they advanced deeper into the mothership. The air was thick with tension, the sound of gunfire, and explosions echoing through the alien corridors. The alien soldiers were relentless, but so were the humans. Every time the enemy pushed forward, the humans pushed back harder. The deeper they went, the more desperate the alien forces became. Automated security systems activated, releasing swarms of alien drones and energy blasts to stop the humans in their tracks. But Rax and his team were ready. They had anticipated every move, and with their advanced tech, they were able to counter the attacks. The battle was fierce, but the humans continued to push forward, their mission clear in their minds. Finally, they'd reached the central command room of the alien mothership. This was it, the final confrontation. As the team breached the last door, they were greeted by the sight of Commander Jorith, the leader of the alien forces. The battle had led them to this moment, where Rax would finally face the one responsible for the invasion that had cost him everything. Jorith stood tall, his alien form imposing and cold. The commander's eyes narrowed as he saw Rax, and the realization struck him. The humans were not the weak, helpless creatures he had once thought them to be. They had become a force capable of defeating him and his empire. The face-off between Rax and Jorith was nothing short of epic. The two commanders locked eyes, each filled with a mix of hatred and determination. Jorith snarled, issuing orders to his troops to take down the human forces, but Rax was ready. With a fierce battle cry, he charged forward, his team right behind him. The final confrontation was brutal, as human and alien forces clashed in close-quarters combat. Blades clashed, energy blasts flew, and every move was a desperate struggle for survival. Rax's mind was a blur of emotions as he fought. The grief of Bonner's death was still fresh, but it no longer held him back. It fueled him. Every strike, every move, was for Bonner and the countless others who had fallen. The pain he had carried with him throughout the war had transformed into something stronger, a burning desire to protect his world, to avenge his friends, and to ensure that humanity would survive. In the final moments of the battle, it all came down to a single move. Rax, his body battered and bruised, used the last of his strength to land a decisive blow on Jorith. The alien commander, surprised by the strength of the human resistance, staggered back. Rax, with his rage and grief boiling over, pushed forward, determined to finish what had been started. With one final, explosive strike, he defeated Jorith, the alien commander falling to the ground in defeat. The battle was won. The alien mothership, its command structure shattered, began to fall apart. The remaining alien forces, leaderless and broken, were no match for the humans. The war was over. Humanity had prevailed, but the cost had been unimaginable. Rax stood, his heart heavy with loss, but victorious. The sacrifice of his friends, his comrades, had not been in vain. They had fought for their world, and they had won. The invasion was over, but the fight had changed Rax forever. He had seen the depths of grief and loss, but he had also seen the strength of humanity. Together, they had overcome the impossible. The world had been saved, and humanity had proven that no matter the enemy, no matter the odds, they would never give up. They would fight until the very end. The final confrontation was upon them. The alien mothership loomed ahead, its massive hull reflecting the distant stars in space. The humans had fought their way through the ranks of the alien fleet, overcoming their most advanced weapons, outsmarting their strategies, and proving their strength at every turn. But this was it. Rax's heart raced as he prepared for the last push. The alien mothership, the heart of the invasion force, was within reach. The battle had been long, filled with sacrifices, pain, and loss. But now, in this moment, humanity's resolve would be tested more than ever. Rax led his team through the final corridors of the mothership, his mind focused on the mission at hand. They were close, his fists clenched as the memories of his fallen comrades flashed in his mind. Bonner's sacrifice, the countless others who had given their lives to protect Earth. They had all come this far, and they would see it through. The core of the mothership was located at its center, surrounded by layers of security, heavily guarded by alien soldiers and automated defenses. But humanity had something the aliens did not: determination. As they reached the core, Rax felt the weight of the moment press down on him. His hands trembled slightly as he attached the explosive device to the ship's central core, the device designed to cause a chain reaction that would obliterate the entire fleet. It had taken weeks of planning, every detail accounted for, every risk calculated. But now, standing on the precipice of victory, there was no time to hesitate. Rax looked around at his team, the people who had fought alongside him, who had shared in the hardships and the victories. Together, they had faced down impossible odds. Together, they would end this war. He pressed the button, and immediately the countdown began. The hum of the ship's core began to vibrate the air around them as the countdown ticked down. In those final moments, Rax could feel time stretching, every second heavier than the last. Then, without warning, the entire ship shook violently as the chain reaction ignited. Explosions rocked the mothership as the core erupted in a brilliant flash of light, followed by a shockwave that tore through the ship's innermost chambers. The massive vessel trembled as its systems failed, one by one. The sound of its collapse echoed in Rax's ears as the ship, now doomed, began to crumble around them. It was over. The mothership's destruction set off a chain reaction that spread throughout the entire alien fleet. One by one, the enemy ships erupted into flames, their once imposing forms reduced to debris in the blink of an eye. The remaining alien forces, now leaderless and scattered, tried to regroup, but it was too late. The humans had delivered the final blow, and there was no going back for the alien invaders. As the last alien ship exploded in a flash of light, the galaxy was silent. The enemy was gone. With the alien fleet destroyed, Earth's survivors couldn't help but feel the weight of victory wash over them. The battle had been long and grueling, but humanity had triumphed. The air was filled with cheers, shouts of celebration as people on Earth watched the battle unfold on their screens. Victory had come at a high cost, but they had done it. The Earth was safe. But Rax knew better than to think it was truly over. As the survivors celebrated, Rax remained quiet, his gaze fixed on the horizon of the now quiet battlefield. The aliens they had defeated were only one empire. Other, more dangerous forces were out there, waiting, watching. They had proven their strength today, but they could not afford to rest. Earth had proven it could stand up against the most powerful forces in the galaxy, but what if there were more threats lurking in the dark corners of space? In the midst of the celebration, the humans captured Commander Jorith, the alien leader who had orchestrated the invasion. He was now a prisoner, shackled and taken aboard a human ship for interrogation. As they escorted him through the halls of the ship, Jorith's defiance remained unbroken. He had been defeated, humiliated, but his pride was intact. He looked at the humans around him, his cold eyes narrowing as he whispered in a voice full of quiet menace, "You've won today, but the universe will never forget your power." The humans took his words in stride, but they knew he was right. Their victory was a turning point, but it was only the beginning. A message flashed across human screens. "We are no longer the underdogs. The galaxy will tremble before us." Rax stood in the control room, watching as the message spread across the world. His heart swelled with pride, but a sense of unease lingered. Humanity had proven itself, but the fight for Earth's place in the universe was far from over. The galaxy was vast, and there were many more challenges ahead. Rax knew that they could never let their guard down. The universe would not forget the humans' victory, but it would also not forget the scars it had left behind. As Rax walked to the observation deck, he looked out at the stars, the galaxies stretching out before him. The universe had just learned a new truth. Humanity was no longer weak. The Earth had once been an insignificant speck in the cosmos, but now, after facing down a galactic invasion, humanity had proven its strength. No longer would they be ignored. No longer would they be underestimated. The galaxy had learned to fear the humans. Rax's eyes focused on the stars as they twinkled in the vast expanse of space. He had fought for this moment, for the future of Earth, for the future of humanity. But now, with the war over, he felt the weight of responsibility press down on him. What would the future hold? What was next for humanity? He didn't know the answers, but he did know one thing. Humanity's place in the universe had just changed forever. The battle was won. The galaxy had been mourned, but as Rax gazed into the stars, he knew that humanity would face more challenges in the future. The fight had only just begun, and as long as there was breath in his lungs, he would continue to fight, alongside his fellow humans, for the survival and dominance of Earth. The camera zoomed out, showing Rax standing on the observation deck, a figure of resolve and strength. The stars blinked in the distance, the galaxy vast and full of unknowns. But one thing was clear: humanity would never again be the underdogs. They had proven their worth, and the universe would never forget.